Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog at stampwithelaine.com. Today I'm showing the other half of the Flowers for Every Season stamp set. This is the card we're going to be making. It's from the Flowers for Every Season on pages 10 to 13 in the new annual catalogue, and this is the other half of it called Celebrate Sunflowers. This is the stamp set. It's in cling, and these are the sunflower dies that coordinate with it. This one cuts out this larger flower, but bear in mind that this outline does not follow the petals of the stamped image. This one die cuts just the outside of the flower. If you follow me, yesterday on Top Tuesday, I actually did a top tip on how to mark your die with your stamp so that it matches correctly and you don't have to waste time fiddling around with it, finding the right spot. Also need to refresh that Sharpie pen, because every time you run it through the die cutting machine it does rub off a little bit. This is the stamp set. This die cuts out this stamped image. This is a pair of leaves. It's one die, but it cuts out both the leaves at the same time. The images on the stamp set is not true to size. Of course, then there's that one, and an outline of the leaf and some extra leaves. Let's run through the cardstock we'll need. This is in cinnamon cider, and it's been cut at 4 1/8 by 11 3/4. Basically, this is half an A4 sheet in Europe. 2 Whisper White pieces, both cut at 5 1/2 by 3 3/4 inches. In metric, that's 14 centimeters by 9.5 centimeters. One for the front and one for the inside of the card. And Whisper White scrap to stamp and die cut the sunflower and the leaves and the sentiment. To die cut the outline, which is this bit here in cinnamon cider, I've actually put an adhesive sheet on the back of a 4 by 4 inch piece of cardstock. That's 10.2 by 10.2 centimeters, so we'll need to cut one of those. A scrap of early espresso to die cut the center of the sunflower. And for the flower pot, we need a cinnamon cider piece cut 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. That's 6.4 by 6.4 centimeters in metric. And we need to mark 1/2 inch on one of the edges at the bottom. Let's mark that. Then we need to put it on the trimmer and then trim from that point at the 1/2 inch mark up to the top of the cardstock to create that flower pot shape. So we'll align that mark into the cutting groove on the trimmer and the top of that cardstock and cut, and similarly align that 1/2 inch mark in the cutting groove and the top of that in the cutting groove and cut. To create the rim of the flower pot, just butt up the edge, okay, to the top of that and mirror that cut. Same on this side. And then you should have the rim of the flower pot like so. Tuxedo Black Memento, Crushed Curry, Cajun Craze and Garden Green. Stamping blends in Soft Suede Combo, Old Olive Combo, Daffodil Delight Combo and Light Pool Party. A sponge dauber Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder, which you'll find on page 122, which is part of the In Good Taste suite. And lastly, the Stamparatus, because I want to ensure that my image is straight. We'll start by inking up the sunflower in crushed curry. I'm deliberately not using the Tuxedo Black Memento ink because I wanted the shading to be in crushed curry. Now I've stamped this 3 or 4 times with the Stamparatus to make the outline of the petals a lot darker. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I just mounted my stamps on a block. But I can if I'm using the Stamparatus, which is Stampin' Up's own brand of stamp positioning tool. I'm going to mark in pencil right here where the stamp is oriented. So then I know when I put my dies on that I can easily find that position again. Next I'm going to ink up my leaves so I can die cut a pair of leaves as well. And I've cut the piece of paper large enough, my Whisper White paper, large enough to put the rest of the stamps on, so I can die cut it all at one go. Now I'll ink up the sentiment in Cajun Craze, and the sentiment I will fussy cut, and I think I'll stamp an extra pair of leaves. But see how easy it is? I've marked my die, so all I have to do is pop it in there and it fits perfectly. Put the leaves on and the large leaf. Oh, I'll need to put some washi tape on that top cutting plate, and I'm ready to run it through the Big Shot. So I'll do that off camera, and at the same time I will cut the piece of cardstock that had the adhesive sheet on the back with the outline in the same sandwich. So magnetic platform, base cutting plate, cardstock with the adhesive sheet on the back. Before I put this through the die cutting machine, I'm going to mark my cardstock where this piece is, so that it will be easy to line those up as well. Sunflower Centre in Early Espresso. So same sandwich, magnetic platform, base cutting plate, cardstock, die face down, top cutting plate, and then you're ready to run it through the die cutting machine. Back with my die cut pieces, and you'll notice that I've actually put washi tape on it to keep the die cuts in the frame, so that when I come to overlaying this piece on top of that, it will be a cinch. But I need to do a bit of colouring first, so I'm going to take that washi tape off for the moment and come in. There's no crushed curry blend, unfortunately, so I'm just going to use the Daffodil Delight, and I'll speed this up. I'll do the same, paint all the leaves, not paint, blend all the leaves as well. So I'm using the Old Olive on the garden green leaves. There's no need to colour this bit because this will cover it up. Pop all those bits out first. That's the arrow, so I'm just going to place that on there. Stick that down. You could actually use this leftover to pop onto a paper piecing project, but quite honestly that's too laborious for my liking, I won't bother. For this flower centre, I'm going to turn it upside down, use the lid of my Take Your Pick tool and just run it on a piece of piercing mat, a soft cushion, and just make that pop up a little bit. Pop a dimensional underneath. And pop it into the middle. Set that aside. Colour the leaves and I'll speed this up. Set the leaves aside. Now take this Cajun Craze ink and sponge the side of the pot. Do the same with the pot rim, sponge that as well. Put dimensionals on the back and place that on top of the pot so that it's equidistant on both sides. Need to emboss this with the white layer, and in order to assist you, now the new embossing folders actually have a line at the bottom there to help you align your cardstock. You're using the new style embossing folders, 3D embossing folders, then you only need the blue plate. But of course this will all change when we get our new die cutting machines, but for the moment I'm still using the old system, which is the Big Shot. I'm going to distress the edges of the cardstock I've just embossed by running the scissors along the edge, and that wraps it up and gives it more definition when you lay it onto the card base. And using the Cajun Craze again, I'm just going to sponge the edges. And down the bottom I will go over it a little bit so that it grounds the pot. This is now ready for adhering to the card base. That on, leaving an even border all round. Then I can put my flower pot on, sort of like in the centre. I've put foam pads on the back and I'm now going to pop this flower on. I'll pop half a dimensional underneath this flower pot so that the leaf can sit on it. Can you see that? And I'll pop the larger leaf on. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue there. Insert the leaf and stick that down. Same with this one. Pop a half dimensional on the back of this so I can stick that other leaf on. Nearly there. We just have the sentiment to cut out. I'll do that off camera and sponge it and I'll be back. To save time, I've fussy cut the sentiment off camera and now I'm just finishing sponging it in Cajun Craze. I've put some dimensionals on the back and that's ready to go onto the card right in the middle. So that's the front done. So now I'm going to take the mini sunflower and stamp it in Tuxedo Black Memento ink right in the right hand corner and colour them in Soft Suede, Old Olive and Daffodil Delight. I'll speed this up. Then I'll go over it with the pull party around the outline and adhere it to the inside of the card. Ta-da! And that's the card finished. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial and the hints and tips on how to get that sunflower and the outline adhered to the flower. All the links to the supplies are below this video in the Show More section, and if you'd like to read more about it, then hop over to my blog at www.stampwithelaine.com. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll be back very soon. Bye!